Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got a really interesting one lined up for you today.
We really do.
Yeah, if you've ever attended a massively successful festival, or maybe like a perfectly orchestrated gala.
We're one of those sprawling community events that just completely takes over an entire downtown area.
Exactly. You've probably had a moment where you look around and wonder how on earth did they pull this off without entirely losing their minds?
It's a fascinating question to explore.
Because, I mean, when you're a guest at one of these events, the entire goal is for you to only see the polished final product.
Right, you aren't supposed to see the frantic backstage scrambling or the panicked text messages,
Or the spreadsheets crashing at 2 in the morning.
which happens a lot more than people think.
Oh, absolutely. So today we're pulling back the curtain on exactly how that hidden machinery operates.
And we have a really great stack of sources to guide us today.
We do. We're looking at the official brochure and some detailed website content for a software platform called EVENT-ROADSTER.
Which is developed by a group called Heritage Productions WNC.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is to uncover how incredibly complex, multi-layered events are actually managed behind the scenes.
We really want to see how purpose-built technology is stepping in to rescue volunteer organizers.
Because frankly, they're facing the absolute operational burnout of fragmented data.
And to understand why this matters to you, even if you're never going to run a massive community event yourself, we have to reframe how we think about event management as a whole.
Right. It's not just quote-unquote party planning.
Exactly. We often dismiss it as just party planning, but what we're really talking about is a highly complex data and logistics puzzle.
And the way you manage that data ultimately determines the success or failure of these experiences.
The biggest threat to community events isn't necessarily a lack of funding or a rainy weekend.
It's the operational burnout of passionate volunteers running them.
Yes, because if your human infrastructure crumbles under the weight of bad data management, the event simply dies.
Okay, let's unpack this. Just picture the sheer logistical nightmare of the primary case study we found in our sources today.
The Highlands Motoring Festival.
Yeah, the HMF. We aren't just talking about a couple of people parking their cars in a local field.
No, not at all.
Over the past 14 years, this event transformed from a small-town gathering into a nationally recognized concours-level event.
And just for some context, if you aren't deep into the automotive world, concours essentially means a competition of elegance.
It's an elite standard.
Highly elite. It's a classic car exhibition where these incredibly rare vehicles are judged on meticulous historical accuracy, condition, and provenance,
Meaning everything has to be perfect.
down to the smallest detail.
And they've grown so much that they're now generating six-figure charitable donations from their festival profits.
That kind of growth is an incredible achievement for any community organization.
It really is.
But growth introduces massive complexity. A concours event requires tracking details down to the specific type of hose clamp used on a 1950s Jaguar.
Wow.
Yeah, multiply that level of detail across hundreds of entrants, and you start to see the scale of the problem.
Exactly. And the sources include some really candid insights from Steve Ham, the past chairman of the festival.
He lays out this complexity wall they get right.
He does. You've got an entirely volunteer-run executive committee and a team of over 20 volunteers.
And those 20 people are actively managing 525 distinct users.
And then they aren't just managing one Sunday car show. They're coordinating 7 different driving tours, 2 distinct car shows, a Main Street parade, and an evening gala.
Just think about the sheer volume of data flowing through an organization like that on any given Tuesday leading up to the event.
Well, Steve Ham talked about the painful reality of their old way of doing things, and it honestly sounds exhausting.
I can only imagine.
For years, they were relying completely on a web of fragmented, disconnected Excel spreadsheets and some basic PayPal reports.
So they were doing everything manually.
Yeah, imagine sitting at your kitchen table trying to cross-reference a PayPal receipt with a Google Sheet while cross-checking an email from an entrant who needs to change their transporter parking request.
That is a recipe for disaster.
They had to manually track revenue, manage all the event registrations, handle this incredibly complex judging matrix organize awards, curate the car selection process, and somehow handle group communications.
What's fascinating here is analyzing that exact breaking point. When an organization relies on manual data entry across multiple disjointed systems, human error isn't just possible. It's inevitable.
You drop a row in a spreadsheet, and suddenly a classic car owner who shipped their vehicle across the country doesn't have a spot on the lawn.
Exactly. But more importantly, volunteer burnout is guaranteed.
Because you have passionate people who joined a committee to celebrate classic cars and give back to their community.
And instead, they're spending their entire weekends reconciling disparate data sets. It creates a massive bottleneck.
At a certain point, the event literally cannot grow any further because the human infrastructure simply cannot process any more manual data.
And that's exactly where EVENT-ROADSTER enters the picture.
Yes. The materials describe it as the engine powering the events built specifically to solve that exact kind of severe fragmentation.
It's a comprehensive web-based, data-driven application.
But what really caught my eye isn't just that it's a piece of software, it's the philosophy behind how it organizes the workflow.
They focus heavily on centralizing everything into a unified dashboard.
Which is the critical first step, right?
It is. It's about moving an organization from a reactive state where you're constantly putting out fires to a proactive state.
When all your tools live in one centralized hub, you stop fighting the logistics.
You finally have the bandwidth to start refining the actual event.
From this one interface, organizers manage participant applications, the approval process, vehicle classifications, the judging, the awards, the physical display placards, and even the parking logistics.
It's all in one place.
But I want to push back on this for a second because my immediate thought when I read about this massive centralized hub was security.
Sure, that makes sense.
If I'm running a huge festival, I don't necessarily want the volunteer who's directing traffic to have the keys to the financial data or the confidential judging scores.
No, you definitely don't.
So how does a system like this prevent organizers from accidentally exposing sensitive information?
That's a very real concern and something the developers clearly anticipated. This brings us to the version 3.0 updates mentioned in the sources.
Oh, right, the role-based access.
Exactly. They introduce highly specific role-based access. So the version 3.0 update to their user module allows administrators to completely control and segment what each person sees.
So you can add edit and contact staff, volunteers, reviewers, and evaluators all from one place, but you dictate their permissions.
You're effectively managing your entire workforce securely. The parking volunteer gets access to the parking manifest on their tablet and absolutely nothing else.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It protects the data while still keeping everyone in the same ecosystem.
And speaking of keeping everyone in the same ecosystem, the sources spend a lot of time on the concept of smart data storage and data reuse.
This is where the platform shifts from just being an organizational tool to being a major driver of customer satisfaction.
For a recurring annual festival, data reuse is monumental.
Because you aren't forcing your most loyal attendees to start from scratch every single year.
Precisely. If someone brings their vehicle to the festival 3 years in a row, they shouldn't have to retype their vehicle's historical provenance and their insurance details every single time.
That would be incredibly annoying.
It is. With this system, returning patrons can easily recall their previously entered information for a quick drag-and-drop registration process.
It respects their time.
And from the organizer's perspective, it drastically reduces the amount of missing or mistyped information they have to track down later.
And tracking down missing information leads us right into what is arguably the most chaotic part of any large-scale event.
Communications.
The communications. We all know how this goes. Someone emails the general info address, a volunteer, forwards it to the judging coordinator, it gets lost in a spam folder, and suddenly you have an angry entrant and no paper trail.
Communication is usually the very first thing to break down in a fragmented system because the communication tools are completely divorced from the actual data.
Right. What EVENT-ROADSTER does is integrate the communications directly into the database itself.
It features editable, automatic acknowledgement emails that trigger instantly for things like application sales and registrations.
But it goes further than that. It gives the staff templates for their own emails, and it features a tracking queue.
So if I'm an admin, I can look at a specific registrant's profile and see the exact status of every email the system or the staff has ever sent them.
You can email an individual to ask for a better photo of their car, or you can blast a message to an entire specific subgroup.
Like everyone registered for the Saturday driving tour right from the dashboard.
It creates a single source of truth. There's no more asking, did you email that guy back?
The system tells you.
Now, we should point out that while the platform is clearly adaptable, the sources note it handles music festivals, galas, and almost any type of ticketed event. It has very distinct murdering roots.
It was originally developed specifically to support these high-end car shows.
And that specialized origin is incredibly evident when you look at its robust judging capabilities.
This isn't just a generic survey tool where people vote for their favorite car.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the judging matrix they've built is incredibly layered. The system allows organizers to assign cars into highly specific groups or classes.
From there, you can designate the hierarchy of your judges. You can assign lead judges, class judges, or overall coordinators.
And then on the award side, the rules engine is flexible enough to handle complex scenarios.
You can determine if an award goes to one specific person, if it can be shared by multiple awardees, or if it's strictly restricted to just one award per class.
It's managing the entire life cycle of the competition.
It handles the initial application review flags if additional info is needed, moves the car to approved status, places it in a specific class, assigns the human judge to that class, and finally computes the award based on the scores.
And this leads to a detail I found absolutely brilliant because it bridges the gap between the digital database and the actual physical grass beneath the tires.
It's not just a cloud system.
No, EVENT-ROADSTER automatically generates the physical judges packets for the evaluators to walk around with on clipboards.
Even better, it generates the physical display placards that are placed in front of the cars on the show field.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is a prime example of exceptional software design.
It really is. So often we see software that forces users to change their real-world behaviors to fit the rigid structure of the code. The developers at Heritage Productions WNC were responsive to the actual needs of a real festival.
They built a tool that perfectly mimics and supports the real-world workflow. The technology serves the event, not the other way around.
It's a subtle distinction, but it makes all the difference for the volunteers on the ground.
So we've covered the cars, the judging the data, and the people. But let's be honest, all of this incredible organization doesn't matter if the festival goes bankrupt.
Very true.
How did they handle the actual lifeblood of the event, the ticketing, and the money?
Ticketing at scale is incredibly stressful because the demands are dynamic. It's not a static list. It's a constantly shifting inventory.
And EVENT-ROADSTER handles this with a fully integrated dynamic ticketing engine.
From the store admin window, organizers set their ticket quantities, prices, and formats.
But you and I both know that managing a waitlist manually is a nightmare.
Oh, it's the worst.
This system manages the real-time inventory automatically. If someone's credit card fails or a ticket is placed on hold, the system adjusts the available pool instantly.
It integrates seamlessly for payment processing through PayPal and Stripe.
But it also gives the admins powerful tools for the inevitable hiccups.
Like if someone buys a ticket for the Friday tour, but needs to swap to the Saturday tour.
Exactly. Admins can transfer those purchase tickets between different sub-events or process full or partial refunds directly within the interface.
Without having to log into a separate banking portal, it provides total visibility and immediate actionability.
You can pull up the waitlist, see exactly who is on it, and with one click, send an email to that specific group letting them know a new block of tickets just opened up. And what's really compelling about the sources we reviewed is the ethos of the developers themselves.
Heritage Productions WNC doesn't come across as some faceless, unreachable tech corporation.
They clearly pride themselves on bespoke grassroots support for event organizers.
They actually want you to reach out to them to talk about your specific logistical nightmares. Having a responsive development team that actually understands the physical realities of running an event makes all the difference.
When you're managing real-time logistics, you need partners, not just vendors.
So what does this all mean?
When we zoom out and look at everything we've discussed today, from the Highlands Motoring Festival's incredible growth to the philosophy behind that unified dashboard, the core principles really stand out.
Centralization, automation, and intuitive design that mimics human workflow.
These aren't just tech buzzwords, they are the fundamental pillars of any successful project you might be managing.
The main takeaway here is that good tools should empower your volunteers, not frustrate them to the point of quitting.
Absolutely. Whether you're coordinating a massive classic car parade that shuts down an entire town, or you're just setting up a local community chili cook-off, the underlying truth remains exactly the same.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought to end on today.
Something for you to mull over after we wrap up.
If enterprise-level end-to-end management tools like this become widely accessible and easy to use for everyday volunteer committees, will we see a future where community-run hyper-niche festivals consistently rival massive, heavily funded corporate events in both quality and scale?
It's an exciting possibility for local communities everywhere.
It certainly levels the playing field in a very profound way.
It really does. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it gave you some great insights into the hidden mechanics of the events we all love to attend. Until next time, keep exploring.